guys, it's Tina and I am back, and I am here with a get ready with me video featuring this warm sultry cranberry look. And I've done other cranberry like deep plummy looks on my channel before, but this one is a little bit different because I incorporated oranges and some peach tones to keep it very warm and vibrant. And I paired this with a Vampy lip. And this is one of the Wet n Wild, the Mega Last Liquid Catsuit Matte Lipsticks. This is brand new. They just released these. This is the shade Video Vixen. They're $4.99. And so far, I'm liking the formula. I had to layer this shade up a little bit to get the full opacity, but it's a really bold color. It feels a little tight and a little bit drying on the lips, but for me, if it flakes, that would be the deciding factor. I don't like liquid lipsticks that flake at all. And for the eyeshadows, I'm actually using a new palette that I got from Juvia's Place. This is the Saharan palette. It's brand new to their lineup again. And there are a lot of warm orangey tones. There's some golds tossed in, some neutral shades, and a black. And to me, this follows the theme of other Juvia's Place palettes. Like, they tend to pair very warm shades with pops of color. This is the Masquerade palette, which I think is the best palette. They have a miniature size to this, so I think you can get it in this size palette, but the same shades. And I like the eyeshadows from Juvia's Place. They're a little bit controversial with the customer service, but I think they've gotten much better, and I didn't have an issue when I ordered this. I got shipping confirmation like a day later, and it arrived 2 days later. So I was very happy with the service. I know other people have complained before, but I think they are improving on their customer service. So if you want to see me play with this palette and play with some new products as well, then stay tuned, and I will talk to you soon. Hey there guys, so I'm starting off with a clean, freshly washed face as usual, and the first thing I'm going to grab is this Urban Decay Quick Fix Hydra Charge Complexion Prep Priming Spray. It has niacinamide, coconut water, and Sepatonic M3, and it's meant to hydrate the skin. Now I'm going to go ahead and fill in my brows, but the first thing I do is apply an eyeshadow primer around my brows to help the products glide on easily and stay in place all day. And now I'm going to grab my Urban Decay Brow Beater Brow Pencil in the shade Dark, which is my favorite brow pencil. I use this to outline the shape of my brows both at the top and at the underside, and I make sure I define the arch very carefully with this brow pencil and create an extended tail to my brows. I have a complete brow tutorial linked below in the description box, so you can check that out if you're interested. But I'm just going to grab my Paula Flat Eye Definer brush just to soften the outline of the pencil and really diffuse that color so we don't leave any harsh lines behind. Then I'll go ahead and grab my Dior 3D All-In Brow Kit in the shade Dark again. And I'm going to mix the two brow shades in the brow kit and combine them to blend out the edges of my brows and to help fill in any sparse areas again, just to create that desired shape that I am going for. Next, I'm going to grab a little bit of lip balm. This is my By Terry Balm de Rose, and I love this lip balm, and it's very cold in New York, so I have to hydrate my lips and let that sit while I apply the rest of my makeup. For my skin, I'm going to go ahead and apply another moisturizer. This is my Skin Caviar Essence in Lotion from La Prairie, and I'm just going to apply that all over my skin. This is kind of a tonic moisturizer. It's not too heavy, it's really lightweight, and I like how it feels on my skin. So I'm just going to apply that all over my skin. And then I'm going to go in with a little bit of eye cream. This is my Algenist Complete Eye Renewal Balm, and I'm just going to apply this under my eyes. I'm feeling a bit dry today, so I'm going to make sure that I hydrate all the areas that need some hydration, especially under my eyes, on my lips. You know how it goes. Those areas get really dry, and I don't want it to feel too tight. So I'm going to hydrate before I go in with my makeup. But I should point out that I got a little bit of situation happening here. Like, these little red bumps popped up on my cheeks, and I think it is from the Urban Decay Quick Fix Spray. So I don't know. I have to keep testing this out to see how I like it. But anyway, we're going to go in with some eye primer. This is the MAC Prep and Prime 24-Hour Extend Eye Base, and I'll just apply that all over my lids, and it really helps to keep our eyeshadows in place and wear all day without creasing. Next, I'm going in with this new Wet n Wild Photo Focus Concealer. This is the shade Medium Deep Tan 844B. It's a lighter shade and it's a dry kind of concealer, but I'm applying that directly under my brows to help conceal under my brows and also act as a highlight. And I'll create a sharp outline under my brows using my number 18 concealer brush from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I love this concealer brush. It just has a nice, really defined shape that helps me to get right under my brows and create that sharp outline. I'll also apply some of this concealer on my lids to act as my eyeshadow base. This is going to help intensify the eyeshadows, and I'll blend that out using my Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush just to make sure we have even coverage of this concealer and we remove any excess product so it doesn't cling to our eyeshadows or get too moist and creasy on that eyelid space. As I mentioned, I'm using some of the Juvia's Place palettes for my look today. So the first one I'm grabbing is the Nubian palette, and I'm grabbing a creamy caramel matte brown shade from the palette, which is in the top row. These eyeshadows don't have names, so I'm just going by the shade description. Again, it's just a warm tone caramelly brown, and I'm buffing that in my crease area using windshield wiper motions and my Eddie Funkhouser large crease brush. Now I think that's a little bit too dark, so I'm going in with one of my Sugar Pill eyeshadows. This is Heart Shaped Cookie. It's just a matte beige shade, and I'm just using that to lighten up that deeper shade that we have on the crease. Now I'm going in with the Saharan palette. This is the newest palette from the Juvia's Place lineup, and I'm using the shade Katsina, which is again another caramelly brown shade, and it's a matte finish. Then I will go in with the shade Jamila, which is an orangey shade, and what I'm doing is building up dimension with these colors. And this bright orange shade is really beautiful. It's like a burnt orange, and I'm using circular motions to deposit the color and just buffing it around on that outer lid and outer crease area, just making sure we have a nice deposit of color. Now I'm going back into the palette and I'm grabbing the shade Sokoto, which is more of a reddened brick orange shade, and I'm using one of my Anastasia Beverly Hills blending brushes. This is an A25. It's a smaller blending brush, and I'm just applying that color again on that same outer lid area. Now I'm going in with a pencil brush. This pencil brush is from Morphe. It is the R41. And I'm applying that to the inner tear duct area and then going back in with that A25 brush from Anastasia Beverly Hills and blending out the color on that inner tear duct space. Now I'm going in with the shade Fula on my Eddie Funkhouser eye shader brush, and I'm mixing it in with the shade Lulu and a little bit of my Smashbox primer water to intensify the shimmer. I'm applying that directly to the center of the lid, just using back and forth pressing motions, not going too far on the outer or inner lid. Then I'll pack on a little bit more of the color to make sure we get the desired intensity and it matches up with the other lid area. And applying a little bit of the dry eyeshadow over the damp one does help with our blending. And I'll go around the edges with the same brush, just making sure we blend out the harsh lines. Going back into the Nubian palette, I'm grabbing the deep dark brown shade from the palette in the bottom row. It's a matte shade on that same A25 blending brush. And I'm trying to create some depth, but that wasn't working out, so I went for one of my Bobbi Brown eyeshadows. This is the shade Black Plum number 27, which is a rich, deep burgundy shade, like a blackened plum. And I'm applying that to the outer crease to create some depth. Now we're going into my Makeup Geek Mirage eyeshadow, which is my favorite highlight color, and I'm applying that directly under my brow bone using a MAC 252 brush, and I'm pulling that downwards onto the brow bone space to make sure I blend out the edges of those shadows that we have on that crease area. Going back into the Nubian palette, I'm going to grab two of these shimmery shades from the top row. These are like icy beige shades on that pencil brush again from Morphe, the R41, and I'm just going to pop that on my inner tear duct area to act as that inner tear duct highlight. It's a really beautiful shimmery combination, and I really love it, and I'm just going to blend out the edges to make sure it doesn't look too harsh on that inner tear duct area. I'm going to leave the eyes for a second and move on to the face. So I'm going to grab my NARS Pore and Shine Control Primer, and I'm just going to apply this all over my skin. This is going to be my Shine Control Primer. It is a bit of a lotiony texture. It's not silicone-y at all. It's very lightweight, and it gives this matte, slippery feel to the skin, but it's not too drying at all. I don't find that it controls oil too much though, but we're gonna keep testing it out and see if we can figure this out. I'm going to test out this new foundation from IT Cosmetics. It's their Confidence in a Compact Skin Transforming Full Coverage Solid Super Serum Foundation, and it has SPF 50. I'm using the shade Deep, and I'm applying this with one of their foundation brushes. This came with the actual set that they sent to me, so I'm gonna just buff this all over my skin, and it applies pretty nicely over this primer. If you use a too mattifying primer, it can cling to spots and not blend out as well, but over this primer it's applying beautifully, and it's giving me nice coverage, and it feels very lightweight, and it does blend out pretty nicely. It has SPF 50, so I am interested in using this for the summertime, especially if I'm going to go out in the sun. I mean, SPF 50, come on. And it is a nice shade match as well. They've extended their shade range a little bit, and they don't look as green on my skin anymore. They used to look very neutral, very green, but this actually blends out pretty nicely on my skin, and it is a nice shade match. So I'm going to test this out some more and then give you my final verdict. Now, I felt like I needed a little bit more depth to my eyes, so I'm grabbing my Dark Mattes palette from Viseart, and I'm grabbing these two dark burgundy berry shades on that same Anastasia Beverly Hills number 825 brush. And as you can see, it's giving me the results that I want. I just needed a deep, dark red and burgundy shade on that outer V area, and it worked pretty well, and I'm just blending out the edges. Now I'm going in with my concealer. This is the Urban Decay Naked Skin Weightless Complete Coverage Concealer. I'm using the shade Medium Dark Warm under my eyes. It's a little bit lighter than the shade that I typically go for, which is the Dark Neutral. And I'm going to blend this out using my L'Oreal Concealer Blender. I really love this sponge, guys. I think L'Oreal did a great job when they created these sponges. They really got the texture right. At least for me, I really enjoy them. I enjoy these a little bit more than my regular beauty blender. So I'm just going to blend that concealer out under my eyes. Then I'll go ahead and set that in place using my La Prairie Cellular Treatment Loose Powder in the shade Translucent 2. Again, using the same sponge and just pressing that under my eyes. And this gives a flawless finish under the eyes, guys. This powder is so finely milled, it really makes your skin appear poreless. So I'm just patting that in, making sure that we set everything in place. Now let's go ahead and finish up the eyes. I'm going back into the Saharan palette, and I'm grabbing the shade Kia, which is a deep blackened green shade. It's like a forest green shade, and I'm applying that on my lower lash line using a MAC 242 brush just to apply it right against my lower lash line area. And I'll build up the intensity. I really want this to pop on my lower lash line, so I'm going to go back in and make sure that I really intensify and layer up that color. And I'll blend out the edges using a clean blending brush just to make sure it's not too harsh and it's not too intense. It's a little bit more of a smoky haze on that lower lash line. Now we're pretty much finished with the eye, so I'm going in with my mascara. This is my Maybelline Lash Sensational Mascara. I do like this mascara quite a lot. It does give me nice full lashes. Not as much as with my Too Faced Better Than Sex, but it's a really nice mascara from the drugstore, and it does really lengthen and volumize my lashes. Again, not too much. It's like not full-on false lash volume, but it's a nice everyday mascara. But I'm going to apply false lashes, and I'm using these Ardell Faux Mink lashes. This is the number 812. And I'm just going to pop those on my upper lash line area. These lashes are so soft, so fluttery. I'm having a little bit of difficulty applying them apparently, but they're really not difficult to apply because they have a really thin lash band. And the drugstore is killing it with faux mink lashes. So if you were interested in trying out mink lashes, but you didn't want to spend $30 on a pair of lashes, go ahead and check out the drugstore. They have great alternatives from Ardell and Kiss. Now I'm going to line my lower waterline. I'm going to use my Tealo Eye Kohl pencil from MAC. This is just a deep matte teal shade, and I want to tie that in with the lower waterline area, or the lower lash line area. So I'm just going to apply that to my lower waterline. Now I'll go ahead and apply my lower lash mascara. This is my MAC Extended Play Giga Black Lash Mascara, and I just love this mascara. I haven't found a suitable replacement. I have tried other ones, but this one just kills it. It just does what I need it to do. And for the lips, I think I'm going to go deep, vampy, and red. So I'm grabbing one of the Wet n Wild new liquid cat suits. This is the shade Video Vixen, which is a deep burnt burgundy red. And I'm just going to apply that all over my lips. And I really like this formula. It is a matte formula, but it's a little bit more comfortable, and it's $4.99 at the drugstore. So if you were looking for a good alternative at the drugstore, I think Wet n Wild is the way to go. I wish they had more nude shades, but they do have a decent shade selection. Now let's go ahead and finish up the rest of my skin. I'm going to set my foundation using my Urban Decay Ultra Definition Powder Foundation in the shade Medium Dark Golden. And I'm just pouncing that over my skin using my Tarte Powder Player Kabuki brush just to make sure we set everything in place before we move on with the rest of the skin. And I'm going to go in with a little bit of concealer around my mouth because you can see that darkness around my mouth is a little bit exaggerated with this dark lip color. So I'm applying some of my Urban Decay Naked Skin again, but this is the shade Dark Neutral just around the outside of my lips. And I'll blend it in using the foundation blender from L'Oreal. Again, this is one of their foundation sponges that I absolutely love, and I'm just making sure that I go around and pounce it into my skin so it blends in with my foundation and doesn't disturb the rest of the makeup that I have on. And then for my blush, I'm going to use the Makeup Revolution, the matte blush powder. This is the shade Fusion, and I'm just popping that on the tops of my cheeks using one of my my Chikuhodo brushes. I got this one in a brush set. It's an overpriced brush, to be honest. I really like the brush. It's a nice soft brush, but I just think it's a little bit too expensive and you can find cheaper alternatives. But I love this blush. It's more of a berry pink and it really suits my skin and it applies nicely and blends out nicely. So check the drugstore for these inexpensive blushes. Now for my contour, I'm going in with my pressed powder from NARS. This is the shade Valley, and I'm going to blend this in the hollows of my cheeks using my Urban Decay contour brush. And I'm just going to hollow out my cheeks, just apply a little bit of definition and make sure I blend that out. And I'm also going to apply a little bit of this to my temple area to give a little bit of shape to my face. Now for my highlight, I'm going to grab the Kat Von D Alchemist Holographic Palette. This is a face and eye highlighter palette. And the shade I'm grabbing is Pink, which is Opal. They have two names, one in parentheses and one, I think the name is Opal, but it's a reflective pink shade. I'm just popping that on the high points of my cheeks using that same Chikuhodo brush. Look how beautiful that is, guys. It's a beautiful holographic pink. I do really like this highlighter palette from Kat Von D because the texture is very smooth. It doesn't emphasize pores and it's a beautiful sheen on the skin. And I'm going to go ahead and create a little bit of dimension and shape back on my nose area. I look back at myself in the mirror and I realized I needed a little bit more definition on my nose. So I'm grabbing the Morphe R11 face shader brush and just applying a little bit of dimension to the bridge of my nose and making sure that I really blend that out because nothing looks worse than when you see contour color on the nose area. So just make sure that you really blend that out. And that is going to finish up the look, and I really love how this turned out. It took a little bit of work with this palette, but I do like the eyeshadow formula from Juvia's Place. So if you were interested in the eyeshadows, I say go ahead and try them out. The customer service, I make no promises about that, but the eyeshadows do perform pretty nicely. Alright guys, so that is going to complete the look, and I don't necessarily think you need the Juvia's Place palette to achieve this look. You can use different palettes that have cranberry tones and oranges in them to get the same kind of look, but this lip, what do you think of this lip? This is what I really want to know. I am going to test out the formula of these liquid lipsticks and let you know how they fare in future videos. So when I do my liquid lipstick lineup, I think I'm going to do an affordable version where I mention some of the drugstore alternatives to the more high-end brands. And this one so far may be a hit. So we'll see how it wears and if it flakes and how it fades down. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. As usual, I'll leave a full list of the products used down below in the description box, and I will also leave links to where you can find these products. Remember, they are affiliate links, so if you make a purchase through those links, I will get a small commission for that purchase. If you're not comfortable with that, then just go ahead and grab it off Sephora, ULTA, Nordstrom, wherever you shop online, or you can simply pick it up in store. But if you do use my links, thank you so much for the support, because it does help me to put back into the channel and keep bringing you guys content. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye guys.